Oh, man. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Show, presented by, of course, the great people from Rothwood Orthopedics and Ford, as we are broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge, along with Derek, Kyle, I'm Devon. Brenna's in the house with us this afternoon, as Bree has the day off. All of you in the chat, we thank you so much.
Must be nice, Bree. Must be nice.
Didn't you literally just have last Friday off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now she's got
We've all had off. None of us can
3
complain
days
about
off.
anyone else having off.
Must be nice.
She has the rest of the week off, so she has 3 days off. Brenda with us today, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have Brenda hanging out with us and all of you. And as we hang out with you today, we'll get into some things like the best 25 players of the last 25 years. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll get into some other leaked photos of a few things that may or may not interest you. I think they will. And we start off, though, Derek, as we discuss the latest from ESPN. And we talked a few weeks back, Kyle. I think you said it was about a month ago that we talked
a few
about.
weeks ago, a month ago,
yeah,
somewhere
about
in that range.
little about that time where the over-under, when we were looking at Bet365 and looking at the numbers at the over-under, we saw 41.5, we saw 42.5. And ESPN, though, has them at right now as a prediction, 40 and 42, non-contender, but in the play-in group with a few other teams. So as we start this conversation off, we were discussing this before the show, just briefly, about we did the No Respect show of where Rodney Dangerfield. And in this one, it's again, we've talked about how difficult it is to predict where they'll be, if they're real contenders, will they be in that play-in situation? But right here, it's kind of telling that once again, here's another publication not really putting the Sixers at the top. Also with the
or anywhere close to the top.
Also
frankly.
with the television side and the non-Christmas Day game, Martin Luther King Day, all of that, where they're just out there hanging around and just you can't ignore them. But I have to put them somewhere. It's just not up at the top any longer.
Yeah, and 40 and 42 reads to me like they expect Joel Embiid to play fewer than half the games. Like maybe somewhere in the 20s or 30s. Because if he plays more than that, I think they're clearly going to win more games than that. If he plays 19 games, I still think they probably win like 35 games. So they're not giving you much more of Joel Embiid than you got last year, is what that prediction says to me. Which, I don't know. I truthfully, what's the most likely outcome for Joel Embiid? Because that's where you have to start when you talk about their win total. To me, it seems like, obviously we all have a cap, and that cap might be 55 games, maybe 60 games if you're really optimistic. Nobody's really predicting or expecting anything more than that. But what's the most likely? Is it like 45 to 50? Is it less than that? I have no idea, but that's going to drive it. So 40 and 42 seems like hedging. Like, I don't believe he's going to have the best case scenario, but I'm not quite saying he's going to have as bad as last year too, because I do think if he plays, let's say 41 games, exactly half, I think they have enough pieces around him. And
boy, you're a real dreamer over there, huh? 41 games. That'd be quite an achievement at this point.
What do you want? I just lived through last year. Of course, that's going to color my view. But if he just plays 40, let's say 41 games, I think they could be an above 500 team.
Yeah. I think the thing that jumped out at me from this article, and this is from ESPN's kind of the whole basketball team, is not that they're not considered a contender. It's a few of the teams that they are presently underneath in terms of national expectations. So the group that ESPN has listed as the contenders are all teams that we've talked about as they're already very good, or we have expectations that they can be very good. And
Washington,
they have not a lot of question marks. So it's Cleveland, New York, Orlando, Atlanta, Detroit. I think there's some projecting going on, certainly with Atlanta and Orlando, but you can see the reasoning behind it. There are not as many big things up in the air with them.
Which I love. Orlando, which had the third worst offense in the league. Yeah. They're the Eastern Conference team that we don't have a lot of question marks about. Really? Now, obviously, they made a huge offseason acquisition. Everyone else got worse, yada, yada. But yeah.
So, and then Detroit was a good, solid playoff team last year, built around young players who are going to continue to get better. They missed Jaden Ivey for a good chunk of the back half of the season. So they should get better, and they should be a relatively solid and safe playoff team. Now, here's where you get into the second group, the play-in group. Putting the Sixers at 8 and putting them underneath the Milwaukee Bucks, who at least it's like, okay, it's Giannis and they got Miles Turner, and okay. Putting them behind the Boston Celtics still is a real reminder of like, man, nobody in the league trusts Joel. And I'm not saying that you should, by the way, right? But the whole goal of Boston's offseason was not to get better, was not to try to tinker with the roster. It was to save money. They explicitly maneuvered to save money for the new owners and not be in the second apron and get under the repeater tax and set themselves up for not this year, but years ahead when Jason Tatum recovers from the Achilles injury and is back on the floor. And even still, the analysts are looking around. They say, you know, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, whoever else is going to end up being there. Yeah, I mean, they seem like they're trying to get rid of him, so I almost don't want to include him. Anthony Simons for now. Okay. We trust you more than we trust the Sixers. And I think given the body of work, and I think given Jaylen Brown's overall health and the productivity of some of their guys, and Boston's ability to kind of constantly just turn up more guys when they need them, I get it. It is just a very stark reminder of like, boy, Joel Embiid went from darling of the league, MVP candidate every single year, even when he was. It's not like he was perfectly healthy during the MVP candidate years, right? But there was still a baseline of expectation. Like, this guy will play 50 or 60 games. We know he'll miss time, but when he's on the floor, he's going to just kill teams. I think the biggest thing it reveals is that people saw when Joel was on the floor last year and are looking at him like, even if that guy's on the floor, I don't know who he is at this point. And I don't even think we can say that Joel knows who he is as a player at this point in his career.
The thing that stood out to me, too, is that when Derek brings up the group that he has around him, the supporting cast, while it's not 24 wins, and we know they were ravaged with a lot of injuries a season ago.
I sure hope it's not. I can't do last year.
No, we can't do
twice
that
in a row.
No, we can't do that twice in a row. But it's also about the belief or the lack of belief that even that group, which also boasts an all-star guard in Tyrese Maxey, and of course, depending on the health of Paul George, that they can't even get 3 more or 4 more wins, or 1 more win, or at least even number at 43 with the Boston Celtics. So what does that say about the belief from ESPN about what Maxey and the rest of the supporting cast can do to keep them afloat if Embiid, again, is missing a decent amount of time? Paul George out for whatever extended period of time he may be out, or just a mix of games that he'll play a certain amount one week, another week, but never really a consistent run for Paul George. Is Tyrese Maxey again. It comes back to him because he's the one guy. So if we look at Giannis, that's a given. I have no problem with that because if you do, you lean on Giannis and you say he's going to get us to this particular number and he's going to have.
And Miles Turner was a good addition to
Miles Turner pretty good as well. So then you go to Boston and you're right. Jaylen Brown is healthy and he is an all-star. He is a finals MVP. He has done all of that. He's won a championship. He has been fantastic. We know that. Tyrese Maxey is pretty darn good, though. The only issue is what we talk about a lot on this show. As much faith as we do have in Tyrese Maxey, we continue to ask the question, sometimes to the detriment of our show, where a lot of people are saying, didn't we talk about this? He's proven already that he can't carry a team. Well, ESPN is kind of saying that he can't carry them at least over a Jaylen Brown-led squad to be 7th in this mix with the young players that they do have, along with the rest of the supporting cast of Kelly Oubre, Quentin Grimes, whenever he decides to sign, and so on. And maybe even a little bit of Nick Nurse and how he functions with the basketball team to coach them up to that number of wins. Now, we put him at 43, somewhere around then when we made our preseason predictions before the schedule came out, and right when we talked about the number, the over-under that Las Vegas had them at. That jumped out at me because of the mere fact that Boston lost Tatum, Porzingis, Al Horford presumably seems like he's going to sign elsewhere if he plays. Drew Holiday is in Portland, yet they still have the belief in Joe Mazzulla, led by Jaylen Brown, with Peyton Pritchard in a new role of extended time, plus Anthony
And he was
Simons.
very, very good.
And
last
no
year.
center that we know of that is really going to have an impact in their games. And they're still not good enough based on what they're saying to eclipse Boston, where we at least had them even when we were talking about it. But as the Joel Embiid conversation continues to go along and the lack of faith, fair enough. He's only played, 58 total games in the last
2 years.
In the last 2 years. All right, fair enough. But man, that is saying something once again about what Joel Embiid has around him to hold things up, to uplift until he does get back, or until we get to a postseason situation of a play-in in this manner here, a play-in. And even forget about the Boston Celtics. One game better than both Miami and Indiana? One game? I understand that Indiana got to the NBA Finals a year ago, and Pat Riley is Pat Riley, and so is Eric Spoelstra, but one game better than those two teams?
Unfortunately, Pat Riley can't play, so I don't.
Roster construction.
Anymore.
Roster construction in that case, but one game better than them. And look,
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying the Sixers, you should believe that they're going to win a championship and you should believe that they're a top 4 team like we always talk about them in the past when Embiid preseason, before we knew Embiid would be playing 55, 60 games as the guys talked about. But just one game better than those two teams when you look at this particular grouping that they have them in, all right, fine. But one better than those two and 3 behind Boston, I don't know.
Yeah, and look, I think what it really says is that it might not be that nobody believes in Joel. It might not be that nobody thinks the Sixers have a chance to be good. It's mostly no one wants to attach their wagon to the Sixers because they're just not trustworthy, right? When Joel constantly goes down with injuries, even during the good years, and then that has spiraled into 2 disaster seasons, one after another on the health front, last year being the worst case scenario, and their guy that they brought in to be the 3rd option and the 3rd best player is in his mid-30s and seems to be like he snuck one good health season in during the contract year.
Yeah.
And it appears that might be the only one if you're just looking at the overall body of work. Of course you would look at all of that. Of course you would look at how they perform when it's just Maxey, who's going to have to carry a bunch of young guys and some role players who are not equipped to lead teams and win games. And you're going to sit there and say, prove it to me. Like, go out there and show me. And I think that's where Sixers fans have been for a while. And I think the lag nationally, the lag in the media, the lag in Vegas was behind, right? The hype train was rolling. Everybody was still, all right, Joel had a blip year with the knee and he's going to get it right. And he played in the Olympics and he'll be back and he'll look fine. And then it's just, everyone just shrugs their shoulders, man. I don't know what else you could do at this point.
Yeah, and look, like some of these people, like this is an ESPN thing. Tim Bontemps last year was on TV saying the Sixers were the biggest threat to the Celtics up until like January.
Yeah.
Like up until it was obvious, like, okay, this isn't going to work out. I have to backtrack. Up until then, he was giving Joel Embiid the benefit of the doubt. He was believing in Joel Embiid and the team that Daryl Morey put together. But we all know, like, meniscus doesn't grow back. So until you can prove, like, it's one thing to say, all right, you got your, because that was Embiid's 2nd surgery to remove a portion of the meniscus. You give him the benefit of the doubt, and then he shows, oh, well, it's not reacting well. Until you can actually prove that you're able to find methods to allow you to play on that regularly, of course you're going to be. Like, it's one thing that, like, this is not 12 months ago. Like, we have evidence now that it is not reacting the way that anyone hopes it's going to react. Until you can prove that was a 1-year aberration, it would be impossible to be like, I think he's going to play 60 games and they're going to win 50. Like, you just can't do it now. So you end up with these like middle of the road 40 and 42 predictions because we're all just throwing our hands up because nobody can actually do anything meaningful.
I feel like if you say he's going to play 50 games, you come off as
That's
like, boy, you're
optimistic.
an optimist.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to say, right? 50 games is insane to be a high floor for a player who is considered, at least on talent basis, one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
It is wild that we're sitting here having this conversation. And before Kuminga landed on his knee, he was walking to that 2nd consecutive MVP. Like, walking to it. Unbelievable turn.
Well, at least running, but
Well, a light jog.
He was pacing himself. to that one. But even with it, and you look at where we are right now, and as we talk about it, we haven't had any updates. The only thing that we've had is the story from ESPN, the one that we did not see on its way. And when we got it, that even said that Joel may even take a little bit more caution as to how he is preparing himself to get on the floor, or when he gets on the floor, and how he goes about it. So let's take our first pause here of the day. When we come back, we'll dive into more of the story and kind of where the Sixers are in the eyes of the national people and even local for that matter. And most importantly, you guys, the fans, guys and gals out there, how you feel about your basketball team. Are they right? Are ESPN right? Are the Las Vegas people right when they put out a number of around 41 and a half, 42 and a half, that they are more in the playoff picture, play-in picture than they are in the contending picture? I think it's fair that most of us believe that, but how does it look? We'll talk about it as we continue right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, presented by Rothman Orthopedics and Ford. And we also have to tell you about some good Wi-Fi. We're able to bring the show to you live from our studios, live from the offices, because we have good Wi-Fi, courtesy of our people. That's right, as we broadcast live from the Xfinity Lounge. It's the Xfinity Internet. It's the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best in-class equipment. The Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming here in the office, and you should make sure yours is booming, whether it's in your home or in your office as well. Whether you're streaming, gaming, or working from home, the Xfinity Wi-Fi is in fact booming. And do more of what you love and love how fast you do that with Xfinity Internet. Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile, so you've got lightning fast speeds at home and even on the go. With Xfinity Internet and mobile together, the Wi-Fi is booming wherever you are. Xfinity Internet and mobile, and supercharge your phone with Wi-Fi Power Boost for the ultimate connection. And Xfinity Internet and mobile are the ultimate power couple. With the Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile, you get ultra-fast speeds with reliable internet at home and secure network on the go. So your Wi-Fi, once again, is booming wherever you are. So internet, mobile, they're stronger together. Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile, and you should too. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on OpenSignal Awards USA. Fixed broadband experience report. That's in August of 2024. So make sure you go check in with Xfinity so you can make sure that you have no issues, work, school, whatever it is, through Xfinity and the booming internet.
You know what else is booming? The legendary Ford F-Series. Devon, the best-selling truck in America for how many years?
48.
48 consecutive years for the Ford F-Series. It's going to be 49 and then 50. Soon enough, the Ford F-150 blends work-ready toughness with modern-day tech and luxury. Good thing I didn't combine those two words. 6 different powertrain options, including a hybrid and a fully electric Lightning model. The 3.5-liter Power Boost hybrid V6 delivers 430 horsepower and amazing towing capacity. It's best-in-class towing of up to 14,000 pounds, depending on the configuration. I personally have never had to move 14,000 pounds at once, but maybe you do. Maybe you need that. Maybe that's a day-to-day thing for you. You might have a different lifestyle than I do. Got to get the Ford F-Series in that case. Also has a military-grade aluminum alloy body. It's tough, it's lightweight, and it's corrosion resistant. You want to be able to take that truck anywhere through sand, through mud, through dirt, rain, snow, whatever it is. You know, we get all kinds of weather in the Philadelphia area. The Ford F-Series will have your back, and the inside's great too. You get max recline seats. You get nearly 180 degrees of recline. So you might want to take a nap or a break in the middle of your workday. It's the perfect car for that too, right? A 360-degree camera system that helps with trailering, parking, and off-roading. Plus, you have different selectable drive modes, like I mentioned with the weather: mud, sand, snow, tow, haul, eco, and even more. They have so many they can't even list all the modes. So if you need more information, you want to get a Ford F-Series of your own, visit your local Ford store.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast, presented by Ford, as Kyle just mentioned, and Rothman Orthopedics. Tell you about them a little bit later. Let's keep the conversation going. First, before we get there, let's tell everybody about the great sale that we have going on. If you want to be a part of the DieHard community and you want to join in, Limited time $36 football club special to become an official member of the Die Hard community. And you get that beautiful free club football t-shirt right there as part of the new rollout for the start of the football season. $36. You have access to the Discord, access to great events as a Die Hard member, and you get all the great written content at allphly.com on the basketball side from these two gentlemen. Of course, on the football side with EJ, Bo, Fran, and Les Bowen. Flyers, Charlie O'Connor, Phillies, Jim Salisbury, all right there at allphly.com. Great introductory price, so make sure you go sign up. $36, that's $3 a month. You can't beat that. Plus, you get the great newsletter from Rich Hoffman on every day, and there's none better than Rich Hoffman on the daily newsletter in the area. So make sure you go sign up, allphly.com. $36. Get in there. Now, yes, I see the eyes there. Philly fan 25_8. Go sign
I think
up.
that might be Ramid.
That is Ramid.
Okay.
Yeah, that is Ramid.
The YouTube change with the names kills
unnecessary.
me.
It just annoys me because a lot of the shows I watch still have the old ones. I'm like, why did we get thrown into this stupid experimental bucket? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks, YouTube.
Appreciate it, YouTube. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Where's the window right now, Kyle, for this? As we talked
there.
about.
Right over there,
Well,
across the room.
we have a few right there.
Unfortunately, that window's closed too.
But as far as we talk about this and them, we would expect them, if they were doing this preseason the last few years, as you guys talked about, pre-Joel missing all of these games, that they would be in this contender list of Cleveland, New York, Orlando, Hawks, Pistons knocking someone out of that order. They would not be in this playing group. So where's the window now? How open is it? How cracked is it for us to?
I mean, if
the
it's
way we talk
open,
about
it's like the thinnest. You need like a crowbar or something to pry that thing open.
It's like
and
52 degrees outside. You just want to just a little breeze
honestly,
coming in.
if he has a great rookie year, maybe we just call VJ Edgecombe the crowbar because he's the guy who's cracking that window open, right? You can't expect there to be any kind of championship window right now. I don't think it's a healthy way to go into this season if you want to save your sanity, right? I think, for example, in football with the Eagles, it's easy enough to go in every year. Rosters change so dramatically because of how the cap and the contracts are structured that you could turn over your roster and say, yeah, they got a chance this year, right? With the Sixers, the main players are still in place, and they are still going to be in place for years to come. And I don't think we can say, looking at Joel's last year and a half, 2 years, looking at Paul George at the age he's at, looking at Maxey and kind of what his ceiling is and what his capability is to lead a team when those veterans are inevitably down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can reasonably go into the season and be like, boy, this team's a contender, right? Now, if things break right, if you get 50 plus games from Joel, if you get a clean bill of health and a bounce back year from PG, you don't need a lot of other things to go well, right? Like the basic skill sets of the other guys fit well alongside these guys. Justin Edwards, we've talked about it a lot. Good fifth starter type, but bench role player, if not, just a guy who will take the right shots, defend his man, and has some switchability. Jared McCain, spark off the bench, big time shooter. VJ Edgecombe, a rookie, so he's not going to be a winning player right away, but a two-way player who will impact games for sure. Quentin Grimes, if he comes back, a versatile 2-3 type of hybrid, can fit in any lineup. You still have Kelly Oubre. You're pretty excited about Adem Bona as a backup big, and maybe another one or two guys pop that you're not expecting right now. Watford is a wild card. Jabari Walker was a steal on a two-way. Like a lot of guys that you like individually, and a lot of players that if you have the main guy in place, if you have the true nucleus to go and win, I feel good about a lot of the guys on the roster. It's, again, it all circles back to where is Joel at and how do you manage him, right? Because you brought up earlier the talk about we're going to do it differently from now on, like listening to his body, not playing back-to-backs and doing this and that. And I wonder how that actually compares with what the medical advice is, right? Because the friction between Joel and the team last year was all centered around, from what we heard, the 5 to 7 specialists he met with in September prior to the extension being handed down, their word or the overall picture was, hey, if he's out there and he's playing consistently and he's building up tolerance, there'll be cartilage that hardens, the knee will get tougher. And so it's not to say that you're not regrowing the meniscus, as Derek pointed out earlier, but your knee can adjust, your knee can adapt. And so maybe you're not at 100% knee functionality, but you can get closer to like a 90%, and you'll deal with less pain, you'll deal with less swelling. And that just never happened. And so they kind of pushed and pulled there where Joel's like, I'm trying to do what you want me to do, and my knee doesn't respond. So did that procedure that he had in, what was it, March, April, sometime in the spring, did that procedure actually do anything meaningful to help him out, right? Because if there was something that actually was cleared out, if there was like a loose body in there, if it just needed a clean, and now we're back at that cleaner slate, and what they expected last year happens this year, there is absolutely a world where Joel is maybe not MVP Joel, but certainly a much better player than we saw last year.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you want to actually talk about contender, like we can all talk about, like, obsess over how much does Paul George have left? Can Tyrese Maxey carry a team? Has Daryl Morey done a good enough job? None of those really matter. Like, you're not a contender unless Joel Embiid is playing basketball at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just go look at teams in the finals. Okay, the Pacers are maybe a little bit of an exception to the rule, but you've got OKC, you've got Celtics, you've got Mavs, you've got Nuggets, you've got, the Warriors dynasty, obviously, like Bucks. You look at teams making the finals, they almost universally have an MVP caliber player on their roster at that time. Like I said, the exceptions would be like Tyrese Halliburton and Jimmy Butler. And there's nobody on this team right now that approaches either of those two at the top of their game. Now, that might not have been the common consensus with Halliburton heading into the playoffs.
And those are also like Jimmy is a notorious playoff riser, and Halliburton had an incredible playoff run.
The only player capable of being in that tier of players and lifting your team to that height is Joel Embiid. So, like, is there a window open? I mean, not unless that knee reacts in a completely different way than it did last year.
Can they get to the number, though, as we talk about 40 and 42, or even us saying 43 in the past? Can they be like Detroit, where while we've seen it before with Joel Embiid at the helm and leading you to 50 wins, this is a different year, and we know that, and we have to wait and find out how he responds and reacts to that knee and what he can play. I saw somebody in there in the chat saying that it's all based on him trusting and believing mentally that he can play on that knee and still be effective. Can they be a surprise in a sense where, while everybody has him down here at 40 and 42 or 42 wins, and they're still in that 8, 7, or 6 range, can they be like Detroit was a season ago and surprise you and maybe move up to that 5? Yes, based on what he does. But what if Paul George plays a little more than we expected? Maybe he misses a few early because of the current situation right now with his knee, but he is much better as we get to, let's say, 15, 20 games. He really starts to push it. He's good, and Maxey is Maxey, and then everybody else starts to go in there. Can they surprise a bit and be in that Atlanta-Detroit type of conversation?
Yeah, if we shift the question, like, can they be a good team without Joel Embiid being MVP Joel Embiid on a nightly basis? Yes, I think they could. And
that's not counting on him, us putting any number on him. It's just more of, you have Maxey for sure, and Paul George is healthy enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's like a couple different ways I could see them getting a 45 win. One of them would be like Joel Embiid still only plays maybe 30 games, but in those 30 games, he's like MVP Joel. He's just not able to sustain it. He's not able to do that 2 or 3 times a week, so he misses a lot of games. But in those 30 games, you obliterate people, and then the rest of the time, you get reasonable health from Paul George, from Tyrese Maxey, yada, yada, yada. Or Joel Embiid plays 55 games, nowhere near the level he previously was, but still a good, really good player, all-star caliber player. And I think you can get to 45 wins there. That is certainly a different conversation. Like, it's a very high bar to clear, and you need that elite, top 10 kind of player to really be a title contender, to be a good team, to be a team that we enjoy watching for most of the year, to be a team that fans don't tune out of for most of the year, both things that I'm heavily incentivized to hope happens. Yeah, I think you can certainly get to that. You can overachieve from the 40 and 42 record.
Related to this conversation, here's actually an advantage I think they have in the spot that they're currently in. They are no longer a circle the calendar game if they ever were one, right? There were certainly a season or two there where hey, it's James Harden, it's Joel Embiid, like guys are going to rev it up. They're not that anymore, right? And so you might catch teams taking them for granted, right? You come into the Wells Fargo Center and it's like, we're 2/3 of the way through a road trip. It's the Sixers. They're not a very serious team. And like, they probably deserve that reputation at this point, right? But you might be able to catch some teams napping who are like, hey, we have games against like OKC, or we have games against the Knicks or Cleveland or whoever it might be coming up, and you just catch them with that mentality, and you might be able to stack some wins up early that way. And we have said, I think the early or the first half portion of the schedule also is favorable for them, just in terms of how it fell with the home games, how it fell with matchups. And so I think that's honestly their window, right? If this is going to be a successful season, if Joel and the rest of this team are going to turn people back into believers, it's going to require over the first 2.5 months for them to come in with an attitude of like, okay, people are overlooking us. People are saying, hey, at best, they're like a 500 or slightly below 500 team. It's on us to shed that label, to shed that disrespect, and just stack up a bunch of wins. And then all of a sudden, it's the opposite of last year, where last year, talk about it all the time, right? Once you get in that hole, every game, the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and every loss feels worse, right? You're just digging deeper and deeper and deeper into that hole. If you can build yourself a platform to start the season where it's like, we gave this game away, or we lost this close one, and it doesn't feel like the end of the world. You don't have to answer like tough questions afterward. It's just like, this is just a loss. It's a regular season loss in January, rather than this ended your season. Like, no, not only does nobody believe in you, but you're starting to get close to mathematical impossibility of the season you want to have. So if you start fast, if you take advantage of the way people are speaking about you and teams might treat you, that might be the difference between this season and last, if they can manage it.
And I was just looking at the game breakdown again by month real fast, just to see how many months they had where it was more home games than road games. They have, it's funny because October, we know that's the beginning, it's only 5 games. So 3 home games, 2 road. November's 14 games, 8 home, 6 road. January is 17 games, 11 home, 6 road. And we've talked about that they need to get back to that. Right now, what we don't
And also,
know,
I misspoke. It's a new name, so technically new arena.
Yeah.
The Xfinity Mobile Arena needs to be a fortress,
Yes.
Devon.
but it's so unpredictable.
I'm still getting used to all the new names.
Yeah.
Well, especially because they are a presenting sponsor
I'm
of the
just
show.
saying.
We're doing our best. Trust me. It's just we have over a decade of calling it one thing.
We just don't.
I still want to call it the FU Center. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We don't know what type of performance you're going to get in there for it to be a home court advantage.
Yeah.
They need to win home games to stack those wins.
Especially
early
with
in the
so many
seasons.
young guys, right?
They
Like,
have to win on.
I think home court
have
in
to.
the regular season is pretty overrated as a general concept. But young players, like rookies, second-year guys, they're more easily intimidated by, hey, this is my first time playing at like the Boston Garden. This is my first time playing at Elevation in Denver. This is my first time playing
Joel's
at
too.
the Lakers, right? At MSG. Like, there are a bunch of these places where your first time through, you can just be in awe a little bit, or you're just not used to whatever the environment is. Whereas the veterans, you don't have those excuses, right? So, but that's why you got to take care of business at home, because if you're going to miss, we go in expecting Joel's going to miss time, PG's going to miss time, other guys will miss time. And if you're going to rely on so many young players in these road games, you got to expect that you're going to lose a decent chunk of those.
So I'll just do this with you guys before we take our final break. October is 5 games, 3 home, 2 road. Let's just say they have a 3-2 record to be positive right out of the gate, right? 3-2 record. November's 14 games, 8 home, 6 road again.
No 18 and 30.
No 18 and 30. What they need to, of course, protect home floor. They're not going to win all 8 games at home, we don't think. But you would hope that they're just at least 7-7 to start things off where they're not.
I
point.
really got to hope for much better than that. Like if
They
if
started off
500 is
2-12
all
last year.
I understand, but it's still hard to wrap my mind
Because
around.
what is that? That's
where
10
we're
and,
at.
That's 10-9 right there out of the gate as we talk about 10. Well, I said 3 and then 7 home, so it's 10 wins right there. 10 wins overall for those two that first month between October and November. December is 10 games, 2 to be scheduled because of the in-season tournament. You hope that they do have like a 7-3 month or something where when we look at that December month before he got injured, and as you said, he was walking and running to that second MVP. They were rolling that month. Yeah. And they were in single digits in losses because that's how good they were in double figures of wins. They have to some way put together multiple times where they are winning.
It's still crazy looking at the schedule and seeing Boston three times
early
by November 11th, treating the Celtics like the Charlotte Hornets of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, interesting stuff. All right, folks, when we come back, as we take our final break here, when we come back, we're going to look at CBS Sports put together their top 25 NBA players of the 21st century. How many Sixers are on this list? And are they missing anybody if they did take somebody off? We'll talk about it on the other side. Are they ranked properly? We'll get into it right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Once again, presented by Rothman and your local Ford store.
Look, guys, I have got a laundry list of to-do stuff around the house. Do not be like me.
Do it.
And some of the people that can prevent you from being like me is Ace Hardware. If you've got an outlet you said you'd fix last summer, which I literally do, at Ace Hardware Home Services, they've got the person to fix that. Because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing and electrical to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services. They're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door, from Philly to the Jersey Shore. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
And folks, if you are in fact trying to fit in those last minute vacations, you have the holiday next week, so you're getting that extended day as well. But you're playing some volleyball on the beach, you may be running in the morning on the beach, and you're playing some other activities, basketball, whatever it might be, bike riding, but that tweak back continues to just flare up. Well, Rothman Orthopedics, they're all over the area and they have you covered. So with evidence-based care and a commitment to restoring your mobility, they'll get you back out there and they'll do so stronger than ever, whether you're, again, running on the beach or swinging the golf clubs, lifting the little ones for, these final days of vacation before everything starts to kick back in the fall. Rothman's specialists are here to treat you with whatever is holding you back. Their top-tier care will have you moving and enjoying every last minute of the summer. If pain is slowing you down this season, you got to take the first step and head on over to Rothman Orthopedics. They are 180-plus fellowship-trained physicians. They specialize in specific areas of the body and a multitude of orthopedic services, including hip, knee, spine, shoulder, elbow, foot, ankle, hand, wrist, you name it, they have it. Orthopedic, oncology, and trauma fracture care as well. They have you covered. So once again, take that step. Head to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and schedule your appointment today. That's Rothman Orthopedics. Your summer, every last second that's there left, your mobility, their mission. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast here from the Xfinity Lounge. All right, Kyle. Let's get to this 25 list. Let's start off with you.
I'll leave.
All right, see, man. Have a good rest of your day. The 25 that they've put together here for this 21st century team. So,
Brenna has the full list. Thank you to Brenna.
Brenna has put the list up on the screen. Number 1, LeBron James. No surprise there. No arguments there. 2, Steph Curry. Give him that, huh? Got those 4 championships in there and changing the game the way that he has. Tim Duncan 3, Nikola Jokic 4, Shaq is 5, Kobe Bryant 6. And then on as you go down the list, you see one Sixer, number 1, where he's 15, James Harden. A second Sixer at number 20 is Allen Iverson. Kyle, there's no Joel Embiid on this list. As you have looked over this list, and now the viewers are looking over this list, should they have fit him in on this 25 list?
I think if Shea had not won the title, I think he's probably on the list. I think Shea got there because he won the title and has the pathway in front of him to add a lot more accolades to there, right? I don't think there's anybody else. Maybe Tracy McGrady might be a guy that, like, I love T-Mac, right? And I wore his shoes at times growing up. I had a couple pairs of the T-Macs, but he's kind of in that Joel category of very successful and productive regular season player with a what we'll charitably call a checkered playoff resume. And so putting him at 21, that feels a little off to me.
Well,
I think that's an obvious name to bump
pretty
off.
much done as an impact player by 32 because of injuries. So there's that parallel too.
Yeah. So he's a name that jumps out to me. The one that always will jump out in Joel-related discussions is Anthony Davis. And
at 19.
Part of the reason that jumps out is not really fair, right? It's that Joel kicks his ass up and down the floor every time they play. But unfortunately, you have to do more than just beat the guy up individually to be higher on the all-time lists. And Anthony Davis has a title. He's been consistently a high-level two-way guy, has the same, Team USA Olympic type accolades, won a national title at Kentucky. So he's got a lot of, although I guess this is just NBA players. We're not doing the basketball Hall of Fame stuff.
Yep.
I would say the guy that I felt got a little disrespected here, and I think it's mostly the last few years of his career here. I think Russell Westbrook is being underrated at 25 there. I think that people have turned him into kind of a caricature at this point, and he's done that to himself a little bit. But his peak, even setting aside that he won an MVP, like that run he had in OKC with and without Kevin Durant, with and without James Harden, was really freaking good. And so I think I would have him higher than 25. I'd probably bump McGrady. I might bump AD down a spot or two. I don't know how that ends up, but yeah, I mean, look, I care about the team accolades and the team success. I don't think it's all or even close to all Joel's fault that the Sixers have been at the roadblock they've been at. But if you can't get past the second round of the playoffs, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, you should absolutely be above like Dwight Howard, or you should absolutely be above some of these other guys who have just achieved more while having similar regular season resumes.
Yeah. I guess if I'm looking at lists like this, and for the most part, I don't really care too much about lists. It's a fun debate topic. I don't think it should impact legacy too much, but like I prioritize peak. And by peak, I mean like sustained peak, not like an individual year, but like a 3 to 5 year run. Then I value team success and I value longevity. Like I just don't really care. This comes up a lot in baseball. I remember specifically with Chase Utley, like, is he a Hall of Famer? Well, his peak didn't last long enough. I don't care. He was the best second baseman in the league for 5 straight years. To me, that's a Hall of Famer. I would have the same kind of argument for like an MVP. Like if you have a 3-year MVP run where you're playing at either an MVP level or runner up 3 straight years, to me, that has a lot of value. Now, the reason why I wouldn't put Joel Embiid, like you could talk me into a couple of people here that Joel Embiid at least has a case to be over. I would throw Dame Lillard into that too.
I agree. I left him out.
In part because he's, to me, is the epitome of like, he was really, really good for a long time, but he was never like a top 5 player in the league. Like very rarely, like 1 or 2 years. Maybe.
I mean this nicely. He's JV Steph.
Yeah,
that's what he is, right? And that's a Hall of Fame player. He's going in the Hall of Fame.
But all these players.
I think his relative health helps him. In this case.
See, I just don't value that too much. I value that when you're building a team. Yeah, but I don't value that.
If Joel was healthier, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. He would be on this list.
Yeah, but I also think that's why if I'm going to make a case he should be on the list, it's because I think people are overvalued. And also, there's a slight difference between health and longevity. I agree with you. Like health is an impact on it list, mostly because it impacts his playoff resume.
Yes, yeah.
So that's where I would like agree. I could not put Joel Embiid in like the top 20 in this list. But like if you put him in like the 2025 range, just because his peak was so strong, I would understand that.
Yeah, but he's definitely, if he's on the list, he's toward the tail end.
Yeah. To be a top 15, you need to do something in the playoff meaningful.
Yeah.
Yes. And look, Damian Lillard, however he got there, he got to a conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
say what you want about it.
There was only one though, right? You
Yeah,
only got one.
but he got
conference
there,
finals one?
right? And
Yeah, but that's kind of just moving.
And
the
he's
bar
got
a
some
little
big
bit.
moments.
It's not like he had a ton of playoff success.
But it's something that we cannot make that
No,
argument
I
for Joel
agree.
Embiid that we would also be saying,
and in
hey,
a tougher conference, by the way.
in a
It's
tougher
in the Western
conference,
Conference.
yeah.
I'm just saying his playoff resume is not so overwhelming.
And I'm not making a case to saying he belongs on here. I'm saying that's why he's on here, because of those things.
Sure, but I don't think his playoff success is that overwhelming where that would be the reason I would put him over.
Fair. That is fair. I see somebody in there saying Luka Doncic is a little bit
Oh, no.
premature over Allen Iverson, 16-20. I saw that one there in the chat. Luka got to a finals just like Iverson got to a finals. They have both. Well, Iverson won an MVP. Luka Doncic has not, and they both led the league in scoring and all of that stuff. So do with that one what you will. James Harden at 15. Again, another Sixer at 15. Think that's fair. I saw two from AA Ron saying that AA Ron and Jack Reacher saying Chris Paul is too high and or overrated. Chris Paul, though, belongs on this list. So say what you want. He still belongs on the list.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Yeah.
If you want to
Wherever you wanna
say
put
he should
him,
get bumped, like
He belongs in the top
James
25.
Harden. Actually, the guy I really left out, Steve Nash.
I was
is
waiting
way
for
too
you
high.
to get there. Yeah.
Steve Nash is way too high on this
You-
list. You could honestly talk
two
me out of.
MVPs.
You talk me into bumping him off this list entirely. And
Two
he's
MVPs,
at,
though.
He's at 14. Yeah, but one of those MVPs was like,
But it's there. I don't disagree with that. But when we're just looking at it logically, he's there because he has two MVPs. That's why he's there.
I do think he gets helped a lot by the fact that he had a coach willing to embrace stuff before the rest of the league was.
Mhm.
And he had a play style who specifically was able to take advantage of that pace and that transition to the 3-point game before the rest of the league was able to get to that point.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Steve
was
Nash
great.
was a
I
bad
loved
basketball
watching
player.
No, you didn't say
It's
that.
it when you're talking about the best 25 players and you just look at like if you put them side to side with some of these guys, it's like, what are we even talking about here? I mean, the peak of his career, he's averaging like under 19 points a game. And I know that that's not the primary thing that people know him for, right? But when you're talking about guys who are 30-point per game scorers and also first team All NBA and also were like top 5 MVP guys, some of it is just like there's some politics behind the MVP voting and all that.
He also wasn't a consistent starter until he was like 26.
Yeah.
Like, he was a bench guy for pretty much all of his Phoenix and Dallas run.
It's not his fault that Dallas misused and mismanaged him, right? Like, I don't blame him for that.
Right.
I just think if you're comparing, it's not apples to apples because they're all different styles of players. But there are a lot of guys on this list. Give me Dwight Howard over Steve Nash, for example.
Ramid was saying,
give me James Harden over Steve Nash.
I agree too.
I know you have.
Well, no, it actually relates to a super chat, so I'll skip that for now.
So Ramid says, is peak Embiid better than peak Dwight Howard?
We actually might do a show.
Well, I wasn't. You guys said it. You keep that tucked
about
away.
The top 5 centers since 2000
Yeah.
at some point. I think it's one of the most fascinating debates.
It's a lot about what you prioritize both in the player that you want and the skill sets you want, and also how much you value the team success and pin it on the star player. It's a really good debate, though. It is.
Is anybody else?
But if we shelve it, it's not because it's a bad question. It's just because we were literally talking about maybe doing that show in the future.
Was anybody else left off this list that you felt like has a case outside of Joel Embiid, has a case to be in this conversation? Tatum is in there. He won a championship, so Tatum's in there. Shea, as you pointed out, jumped in after winning the championship. Russell Westbrook belongs in there. Is there anyone else that you guys can think of? Chat, if there's anyone else that you can think of that belongs in the conversation of, man, that guy might have gotten squeezed out of a spot here.
I think once you get past this group, it turns into a lot of guys who they're high-end players, but have some kind of major flaw, which is not to say these are all flawless players on this list by any stretch, right? But you get into the guys who are like if you're talking pure accolades, I brought this guy up for the show. It's like Rudy Gobert has won 1 million awards, but I would never put him near a list like this, right?
We mentioned his name because of the conversation that we said we might talk about a little bit later. Chris Bosh is not on this list.
Yeah.
He's a guy whose career got cut short because of the health, real life health concerns.
He did so much in that time, and then got 2 championships out of it.
But I think some people are going to look.
Career.
Well, I think some people are going to look at it like, yeah, you got the championship, but you weren't like the guy or even the secondary guy on those, and you didn't really win. Now, I don't agree with that because I think he took a big step back. If you talk about the big three, the one who had to sacrifice, that was him. He was an incredible defender. I think if he was using today's day and age when maybe he's playing a little more 5, I mean,
he's basically the prototype for how the league has shifted in a lot of ways.
But I think some people will hold it against him that he didn't win until he got to Miami.
Another name that I thought of, just glancing over because of where some others are played against them, is Paul Pierce. Should he be on this list somewhere? Does that bump out McGrady to your point because of how good Paul Pierce was?
See, that's one where to Derek's point about peak versus longevity, I think peak Tracy McGrady is better than peak Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce was just very good for a longer time period. So it depends on how you weight that. By the way, I think we had somebody that was anti-Luka. That was like Luka over Iverson is crazy. Luka already has more first team NBA selections than Allen Iverson. Like Luka has so much runway.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to say like, oh, let's wait till the end of his career, like that's more compelling to me than if you're just putting the accolades next to one another. The MVP aside, Luka's basically already ahead of him. So I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure because I wanted to make sure I had the full picture on Iverson's kind of
to bring it back to the
because I was Basketball Reference likes to load slow. While we're on the show on my laptop,
last one.
So.
I will reach out to Sean and let him know.
Not because of the longevity, because we know what the longevity was. The only other one that I could think of, maybe Vince Carter.
Yeah, he was one I was thinking of too. But I think because he bounced around so much,
I think he's like a lesser version of the Paul Pierce argument, though.
I agree, but I know
yeah,
his name.
I think someone that might be.
If you would have said like after the first,
what about Ray Allen?
Yeah.
Because like early 2000s, he's the guy, right? He's like the guy, Ray Allen. And then he becomes the third best guy on a team that wins a title, could have won a second one, like comes down to game 7 against the Lakers. And frankly, the 2009 team probably was their best team, but KG got hurt and that all came unraveled. And then he goes on to Miami and he's an even lesser player. So that gets into like, how much do you value the more role player production, right? Because he was capable. He's in that Bosch mold, right? Where you put him on a team and he's the guy, he's going to get you 20 whatever points and make more and do different stuff, but ends up being maximized as a third guy or at least part of a big 3.
Yeah.
So he's someone I'd throw in there.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
No, Vince was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Okay. Because I even thought Chris Webber, he got injured too late. I mean, it just kind of cut things short a little bit. He was that good, though, where Chris Webber might be in that conversation.
Oh, not exactly like the most shocking opinion in the world, but those Kings teams were so fun to watch and so good. Also had a finals appearance stolen from them by crooked officiating.
The tap out 3-pointer, Robert Horry, all that stuff, man. That was a fun rivalry right there between the Lakers and the Kings, led by Webber, Bibby, and all
Tim
those
Donaghy.
guys. And Tim Donaghy. There you go. So top 25 there of the 21st century. Joel Embiid left off. Iverson at 20. James Harden at 15. And a lot of respect there for James Harden for what he did with those Houston Rocket teams. And then later on, changing his game.
I'm really racking my brain now, trying to think of who else.
Some other ones
should have been included that was not.
Some good names out there, man. Some really good. I saw somebody put Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards
who's not on there? Carmelo.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah. Going into the Hall of Fame next week, but he's not on this list.
And look, I'm not the biggest Carmelo guy, but I think certainly deserves consideration at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are all lead guys. So Carmelo certainly that. Can't put Klay Thompson is not this high because he's never been a lead guy. Always in that role. So interesting stuff. Good conversation, though. It's always a good conversation. Let's get to the super chats that we do have here. Starting with Marcus Blackstock on this saying, I'm at the point where I tell people make their own list.
It
when
really
comes
is
to
the
this
thing,
stuff.
right? The funniest thing when a list like this gets posted, or if we were to just make our own, we'd have a ton of people in the comments. This is the dumbest
Yeah.
list I've ever seen. It's like, okay, you put together the
Well, not only
25 player
put together
list
25
then.
and let millions of people see it. Yeah, it is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
It is not.
And there is never going to be a perfect list, and you're going to disagree with everyone that goes out there. I could put my own list out there, and I would disagree with it and think I'm an idiot.
Maybe we'll make a Mount Rushmore of top 25 players since 2000 lists. So everyone submit theirs, and then we'll make a Mount Rushmore out of it. We'll combine
Absolutely.
all the takes into one.
And James Edwards jumps in and says Kobe should be number 1.
Absolutely
Get out of
not.
here. So where
He's 6 though. So is that
he was the first name I scanned to see where he ended up, because he's like a bellwether for me. Where did you, Kyle? Where did you agree with him at 6, and where did you think he would go?
My computer is acting up right now, so I was trying to pull the list back up.
I got it right here. Hold on.
What it was?
I don't
LeBron,
really have
Steph.
any
LeBron,
takes
Steph,
about
Duncan,
Kobe I want to
Jokic,
talk
and
about on the
Shaq.
show. It's kind of my thing with him.
Curry, James Curry, Duncan, Jokic, Shaq, Kobe.
I don't think any of those are crazy,
No.
right? Like Kobe, the problem I have with him, other than the very obvious one, that this is not the forum to talk about it. The problem I've always had with him in the all-time list, not the since 2000, but the all-time stuff, is that he's just worse Jordan, right? And that doesn't compel me, right? There's a generation of people who didn't really watch Jordan, and I got to see like the tail end of Jordan, right, when I was a kid. But there are a lot of people who grew up with Kobe and he's their Jordan, and I get it, but he's just not as good as him.
No.
And so like when you're making these all-time lists, it's really impossible for me to be like, how do I rank Wilt Chamberlain versus
I can't.
LeBron,
Yeah.
right? Like there's no context that you can put them in. And so how I choose to do those types of lists are like, I want LeBron, I want Jordan, I want Wilt, I want Bird, I want Matt. I want the people who are like, these are revolutionary players in one way or another, and or they hit a standard of greatness that nobody else did during that time period, right? And it's not that I'm excluding Kobe or saying he wasn't a great player. It's just like, I don't know, that I'd rather honor somebody else who was different rather than just like, and he was like a serial killer copying all of Jordan's, like very detailed about, and credit to him, right? There has been nobody since who's come anywhere close to that. But that's why I struggle with him on these all-time lists, because it's not a true, this guy's absolutely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more, these are the greatest players ever. They're also the most unique players ever, which is why I think Steph probably gets a boost in a lot of these for me, because he changed the league.
Is he at least, to your point of the overall all-time list, is he top 10 as you've thought about it?
Probably. There have been times when I've been like, he's like 15, but that's because I'm trolling people. The other thing with Kobe is once he died, it became impossible to have any kind of rational conversation about him.
But that's why
then it becomes, y'all would never say this about him when he was alive. It's like, I probably said
he said way worse.
Probably said way worse stuff about him when he was alive.
I'm just thinking 10, top 10. He could be 10. He can be 9. I don't know, but is he top 10?
But yeah, so he is not at the top for me. I would
say
there
are many people who say he should be above LeBron James. No, I'm saying.
No, I know there are people who say it.
Here's what I would say.
No,
there are people who
in
say
favor
that.
of Kobe, and this will be another agenda of mine comes in. Jokic winning one title and being where he is a little like, he's being held to a different standard, and he gets held to a different standard all the time for reasons we won't get into on this show. But the standard is very high for him. He's won the MVPs. He's one of the greatest offensive players ever. But when you're talking about LeBron and Steph and Shaq and Duncan, and you're putting him above one of those guys, and you're putting him above Kobe, who won what he did and did what he did, like that's kind of tough for me.
When you have these types of conversations, you know what happens generally, and whether it's on the show or sitting at home in the backyard at an establishment, you inevitably go into overtime because these conversations just never stop. Go to allphly.com so you can finish hearing our conversation as we extended things on the top 25 lists, talking about Kobe, Nikola Jokic, all of that. Thank you, people on the television side, on the Fast channel. Make sure you join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. We'll be right back here. But to finish off with this conversation and to even look at the chat, which is very active, allphly.com. That's where you get the remainder of the conversation here at the PHLY Sixers show.
So there's three things about Kobe that get me. And I think he probably should have been somewhere in like the 5 or 6 range. I think this is actually a pretty reasonable place to put him. But there's what you mentioned, the off-court stuff, which is not the forum. We won't get into that. There's a lot of the shot selections, especially in the post-Shaq era, which, look, he's incredible and he can make those. I think there's a better approach to basketball. But we're also in the ISO era of NBA basketball. He was sort of playing in the times that he was going through. But man, the defense is so overrated. Like he was making first team all NBA defense at like 32 years old.
Right?
It's like
the tail end defense was definitely overrated.
Oh no, his mid 20s, he was incredible.
Yeah,
he was
a great defender.
He was just given that, he had that.
I hate that happens with everyone. I do think the media is getting slightly better at it, where guys are not getting like the career achievement all defense teams. But that's when you start putting like all NBA stuff on a sheet, or all defense is the worst one. You put the all defense things. Oh my God, he made all these. It's like, dude, for like 3 or 4 of these, he was like a below average defender.
He literally all NBA, all defensive first team at 32 years old, and he was getting picked on. Like, come on.
But again, that's not unique to him. And I
like
think
LeBron has, in his late 30s. Now, look, that's late 30s. He was an overrated defender too, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, the Jokic one is the one I have an issue with. Not because Jokic is not that caliber of player, but just because when you're up against guys who have won 4 and 5 titles, it's a little tough to be like the guy who's won once.
That's why I do appreciate Tim Duncan being over him. Even if it's one spot, he's ahead of Jokic in this one, and he should be. And because when we talk about all time, so many people, it's easy to forget that Tim Duncan belongs in like the top 7. Or top 8 because he was that good. And
there's so much like, he outside of a bank shot or a hook shot, you're not like, what's Brian Pumper sitting there going like, what's his go-to move? He's playing in a small market, most boring personality to ever be an NBA superstar. Like there's a lot of reasons, but talk about a dude who just did not have a single flaw in his game. And it was year after year after year.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we say that and we look at, like you guys bring up Damian Lillard. Should Tony Parker have been on the back end of that list because of the championships, because of the All-Stars, and because he was a part of that team? It's not.
I think Ginobili was better than him, honestly.
So I mean, if we're going to open it up to Tony Parker, then I do think we have to open up to Klay Thompson. Like most of these guys are like leading a team, or at least leading initiating an offense type guys. And Parker, look,
he made 4 All NBA teams. So
I'm asking the question.
He was good.
He was very good, but
he was very good.
Fair enough. All right. Folks, that was fun to have that conversation on the back end. One more thing as we throw in just one news and notes. There was something circulating on Tuesday in regards to the Sixers, their new logo, which is the old logo from 2001. And there was a photo that was out there about the floor now, everybody, courtesy of Tobias _Harris.
12. With a gift from above.
Hashtag 12. And
I see those Xfinity Mobile Arena signs. That's how you know it's authentic. Brand new.
That's true, because if this was like AI generated, they would still absolutely have Wells Fargo.
Guys, what do you think?
Bring back they're going to be wearing those jerseys. That's pretty. We've known for over a year, and people keep tiptoeing around it like they're wearing the jerseys this year. It's going to happen.
What do you think of the floor?
Get excited.
Looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit different.
I saw
it. Looks more like the ones we were talking about, not the cutoff jerseys, the actual normal basketball jersey. It looks more like that floor than it does the 2000.
If we're analyzing font size and script, it's like, hey, this used to be an MS serif.
I don't see
now it's more of a
I don't see the basketball that
flare.
Was like the basketball.
Well, here I just found an image. I'll send it over to Brenna.
Yeah, like
Devon, what's your favorite font? Are you an Open Sans guy? Are you a Montserrat fan?
Nah, not really. I'm just
maybe like a Libra Baskerville.
Yeah, I'm more the Libra Baskerville. Yeah, I'm more there. Yeah, you know.
I'm more of a classic serif, I think. That's my move.
That's my favorite, but I do lean in that, you know, that category.
Yeah,
but,
I can't tell. I haven't looked at the
I mean,
2001
even with that, I like the
script in a
floor.
long time. It looks good.
Yeah, I like the floor.
When they have the jerseys on, people will be taken back. Here's the thing. When they did the Spectrum jerseys, they played Parliament Funkadelic pregame, right? They changed the whole video setup. What is the song for 2001 that they will use for the introductory video? And like, how will they theme it?
Well, I know they had Gladiator themed one for a while there in the playoff run.
Yeah. But if they were, I doubt they'll do that.
No, that's not top.
So it's like,
relevant.
what's a song?
So it's Iverson is hip hop.
Be like a Jadakiss song?
I was going to go the Locks overall. Go
Yeah.
Locks or DMX somewhere in 2000, 2001. That was really rolling. Is it something like Dr. Dre, even though that's West Coast, but that's peak 2001 Jay-Z. I guess I would maybe something with the Locks or
I think Jadakiss might have put out an album that year, if I remember correctly.
maybe.
Yeah, that was when Kiss the Game Goodbye came out. So
And he
that
had the
was
commercial with AI with
let's
the
see.
Reebok commercial. So yeah, that's all. There you go.
Yeah, you could probably get a Jadakiss song on there. We'll see.
We'll see. But the court looks from those photos. The court looks pretty good.
Well, here, do we have the 2001? There's a 2001 court.
So
So
the
it does
blue-
look really close.
It's another sponsor. that
Course
we-
dates,
no,
yeah.
No, hey, no free promo on the show. It's one thing to flub and say
Scribble
the
that
wrong
out.
name.
Do they
It's
even
another- hey,
exist? Do they even
Scribble-
exist?
Of course they. No, I don't think so.
No, they're part of the other place.
The other place. But so the floor again. That's the blue from then. I think before that, that's when it was more.
Oh,
of the-
Joaquin also brought up Fatboy Slim. I remember they used to play the Right Here, Right Now
I don't
song.
remember. if they
Yeah.
did
That was, if you go back and watch some of those,
Okay.
it's
yeah.
I can hear the PA and
Should
the
do that. I
music
still have an
playing
old
and then
DVD box set of that 2001 run. I should go back and watch some of those games from like the playoff.
Whenever I would get on the plane, I had the Iverson DVD from it was the Iverson DVD, and it just from high school to
That's how you know it's
all
old.
of that.
Nobody buys
Patch
DVDs anymore.
Man,
Nobody buys Blu-rays for that
I was gonna say
matter.
we're multiple.
I was on
4K
the plane, man.
Blu-ray.
That was a must watch for an hour flying West Coast with the Iverson DVD on that one because it was dope. Yes, absolutely.
Devon loves a rewatch.
I'm a big rewatch fan. I like more things.
How
that
many
were-
times have you seen Martin all the way through, Devon?
I don't know because I still watch it. I'll even pass by it when I get home tonight. So
That's why I asked.
I'm in.
We are very opposite in that regard because I
do not
I
like
watch
watch.
almost everything once, but then never again.
Yeah.
One take and I'm done.
Show it again. I'm ready.
Except for
Yeah.
like, you have your comfort shows. Like Seinfeld is one of them.
Absolutely.
I've seen Futurama probably 2 or 3 times all the way through. But those are just like the background things.
Yeah.
I guess
Some of
if
the
that's
dramas,
Martin
like-
for you, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Lately, some of the dramas when like the final season will come on, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna rewatch the entire.
I did
series
that
up
with
to
Game of
point.
Thrones very regretfully at this
Mm-hmm.
point because, if I had known what the final season was going to
Yeah,
shape
would have put a
up
little
to be.
more, little less time invested in that.
Yeah, I would have used that time doing literally anything else other than watching Game of Thrones. That was truly like the end of monoculture was Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones and Tiger
That
King.
and Tiger, I was gonna say Tiger King. Yep.
The whole world watched Tiger King at one time.
Yes,
and then
we did.
never did anything
Never
together again.
Nope.
The sports world kind of had The Last Dance. That was a little bit.
That's true.
Did that? Have you watched it since?
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
not since.
I have not either.
I've-
Even if it
I've
pops up
thought
on
about it.
ESPN, I'll be like, all right, I saw that. I'll just go move by it.
I don't even think this is a hot take. One of my issues with that series was it was a little too ass kissing of Jordan.
Because he was
He's
basically
a little too involved in it.
Yeah.
Or like,
Settle down, Scottie
I loved
Pippen.
watching Michael Jordan,
Settle down, Scottie Pippen. Relax.
but it was
Come on, man.
it's a little too much of like everything Michael did is like Saint Michael just right through the documentary. That's all. Still very entertaining though.
Relax, Pip. Relax.
The memes that came out, the memes that came out of it were great.
Yeah, they
though.
were.
Like
Yeah.
him leaning into Larry Bird's ear going, "You bitch, fuck you." I send that to my friends all the time.
All right, that'll do
Ever
it.
see you again, I'm gonna whip your ass.
Let's get to the world famous. It's the roll call,
Uh.
everybody. Let's say goodbye to everybody with the roll call. Let's get to it.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today, including, but not limited to, Smy Guy, my girl Nona. You done messed
You
up.
done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron, Joaquin, Cenobite Mayor.
Bite. You biting the mayor? What's going on?
Mayor is in like a horse,
Oh, okay.
not the mayor.
Cool. All right. There you
It's
go.
one of those pronunciations.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bite a horse either. But
No, you should hope not.
probably a better idea
You
than biting the mayor of
You're getting
Philadelphia.
less
or
trouble,
anywhere
at
else.
least, yeah.
Yeah, you getting some real legal jeopardy on that one.
Uh,
Thank you to Jess. Thank you to Jack Reacher. Thank you to SB Cole.
What up, Jack
Yeah, that'd
Reacher?
be a
Love the
career
movie.
ender.
Thank you to
That would be a
Ramid.
career ender.
Thank you to Music Lover
Ramid,
31.
my
Thank you
man.
to our guy Eugene Ross.
What up, Gene?
D Flyers. More like D Sixers.
There you go. And Flyers.
Yeah,
Go check out
love the support.
California trip. PHLY.com.
Showdown Will, who mentioned Al Harrington.
Willie Will.
Don't think Al Harrington's coming close to the.
If
It's like
any-
that Thaddeus Young
Are we
nomination
talking?
there.
Jermaine O'Neal, we
Are we
can have
talking
a
about the top
conversation.
weed smokers of the last 25 years? Because isn't he one of the guys who's involved with
Yes.
like
yeah.
a cannabis
He and
company?
Iverson and the
Shout out to
yeah.
listen. It was banned for forever. Now those guys can smoke as much as they want.
Yes, they can.
Free Larry Sanders. That's what I say.
Bring Larry Sanders back.
He's doing okay.
He's done all right.
He's
Where was he playing when you looked it up?
he's playing for the Taiwan Beer Leopards.
There you go.
Right.
Come on.
There
Thank you to Yams. Thank you to I Gavini. Thank you to
What up, Gavini?
Boy, you guys like to talk a lot, man. I'm just scrolling and scrolling. Who are our super chatters today?
We had Marcus Blackstock.
Marcus Blackstock.
And we had James Edwards.
There you go.
Yes.
Not to be confused. It was James Alexander.
Yes.
Thank you to James Alexander. Even though I disagree with the Kobe take, still appreciate you showing up and supporting us. Lean to Win, Lost Sleep TV, all our other wonderful friends. We're here each and every day. Of course, Mom in the building as always.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here with us and spending an hour plus here talking about some
A
nonsense.
lot of stuff.
Listen to
Please,
you
on the
guys.
way out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live, and hit the thumbs up button to say thank you to Brenna
Thank
for
you,
stepping
Brenna.
into the producer's chair for us today while Bree gets a well-deserved vacation. We will be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Don't be late. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
See you.
We all silly like the mayor.